Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show People of Distinction. The talk gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com today for more info, or you can always email me directly through Benji at alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have the impressive Larry Allen McNair Sr. We're discussing his impressive memoir, A Drill Instructor's Journey. Now, it's available for purchase through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pretty much all the regular online book resellers. But people, if you want to gather more that Larry has in store, you got to check out his YouTube page. Now, once you go to YouTube, search Drill Instructor Tales, and you'll be greeted with all of the videos that he has. And I'm telling you, there's a lot happening here, and we have so much to discuss. Before we go any further, though, I want to take this opportunity and point out, Larry was brought to our network, People of Distinction, by one of the best advertising firms in the business, and people we're talking about Citi of Books. So for my writers out there who have gone through their process creating their masterpiece, and now you need help moving the book you developed. If that's you, head on over to citiofbooks.com today and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And listen, it is a true pleasure to have Larry here on the line. As I mentioned, this is a memoir. So we're going to be traveling alongside Larry through his direct experiences. And people, trust me when I tell you, this is a book that is easy to read. This is a book that's going to help you pass the time. This is a book directly from Larry's heart. He's put his time, his dedication, and everything in between into this book. Now understand, names in the book have been changed to protect identities, but outside of that, this is all true. I mean, this is a true depiction of Larry's time in the Marine Corps. This is a book for anybody that served. This is a book for anybody that is serving currently. This is a book for anybody who just enjoys creative writing. This is a book that you're going to want to help pass the time on a rainy day. And at the end of it, don't take my word for it. Take Larry's. It's his book. He's written it. It's his life. He's lived it. And he's going to be able to articulate everything much better than I ever could. So as I always say, sit back and strap in. Larry, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this interview, and I just hope that the right words come out of my mouth.
Larry, I'm a firm believer in everything happens the way it should, right? So however the answers manifest themselves today, I promise you that was God's intent. So we're going to roll with it, and we're going to take it as it is, man. But you said you were looking forward to this interview, Larry. Well, I second that notion because we've been looking forward to this as well. I think what you've done here is give us a direct insight of the day-to-day life in the Marine Corps. Now, again, for members of our listening community that have served, they're going to be able to relate. This is going to be almost nostalgic at certain points. But for everybody else that hasn't, right, myself included, you're giving me and my listening audience that snapshot into what life is like. Because I promise you, we're speculating, we're wondering, and now with this magnificent book, we get to see it. Before we go into the book, Larry, start off by telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself. Who is Larry Allen McNair Sr.?
I'm a Southern boy from North Carolina. I grew up on the coast of North Carolina, and I did things that a lot of people throughout the United States have not done. I cropped tobacco. Yes, that nasty smoking thing. But it bought my clothes.
Yeah.
And I had a good childhood, enjoyed my childhood. Then I grew up, and I made a decision that I wanted to be a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
And as a young boy, with all my friends, we always played Army. So I was very excited about going into the United States Marine Corps. And as I said, I was 17. My mother had to sign for me, and she did. And on November the 9th, that night, around 11 o'clock, 2300, the bus driver took off to Parris Island, South Carolina, the land that God forgot. And we arrived aboard Paris Island after midnight. Now, a lot of people may not know, but the 10th of November is a very important date to our Marine Corps and to our Marines. That is the Marine Corps birthday. Well, I didn't celebrate it that night or that day. The only thing that I wanted to do was go home.
Yeah.
I had met people that didn't think they existed, but they are there. And so it was a little stressful going through boot camp. They had to take the old out of me and put the new, which was the Marine Corps way. And that's what they did in 12 weeks. 12 weeks, a lot of things happened. It's just impossible for me to tell you everything that happened during that 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But the first night, my book only covers the first day and the first night. And I thought that would be the part that would be exciting for my readers to read. And there's humor in it. People that have never engaged in a situation, they can just, use your imagination and picture what us 60 plus or whatever fresh, raw recruits doing what these men from God knows where sending us directions, one on our left, one on our right, and they're talking about different things, and we don't know which way to go. Well, that went on for about 30 minutes, and then we got in the barracks. And they put us on front of our racks, told us to drop our sea bags, and that's what we did. And no longer than we did that, we went to evening chow. And I had never ate such a meal than I ate that day. To this day, I still have the taste in my mouth. Wow. And it was not Southern cooking. And but anyway, we went back to the barracks, and it was late. It was after 1800, and they started having us throw our junk in the footlocker, and except our shaving gear, and we took the uniform off and folded it in a certain way, the utilities, placed it on top of the footlocker, and we have a port side, which is the left, and we have a starboard side, which is the right. Well, port side went into head first, and I heard the worst screaming than I ever heard in my life. I thought the world was coming to an end. And when they came out, all I seen was blood on their faces.
Wow. Because
they didn't shave. It was a stressful night shaving that night. At times I thought they were going to kill us, but they didn't. And so I will stop there. That was the first night that I had in the United States Marine Corps. That will remain with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And the gentleman that led that platoon was Senior Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Malott. And I will never forget that name. And he planted a seed in my mind that someday, I said to myself, I'm going to be a drill instructor just like him. Well, that's how it all began about becoming a drill instructor.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's a great segue that we want to go into next, Larry. Before we go there, people, again, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble. You got to check out his YouTube page as well by searching Drill Instructor Tales to gather everything that Larry has in store. But without further ado, let's talk about the book. And really, Larry, what inspired you to write it?
If I really knew, I think I could really make it out of the blue. One morning, I'm sitting at the breakfast table, and I have my laptop, and I'm pecking on it because I'm a pecker. I don't know how to really type or do whatever. And I started putting down words that were about me, and it was about my life in the Marine Corps. I don't know why at first I started writing it, but I kept writing it. And I wrote it for about a year. I think I started writing that book in March, and I think it was published in March. I started in I started in 2021, and it was out in 2022, I think. Now, this book has been how can I say it? The first company was Palmetto out of South Carolina, did my first book. And then I heard about Citi Books. So I had it republished. And so there's two books out there. And I don't want that to be confusing people. On Amazon, one sells for $13.39, and the other, a Citi book, sells for $10.99. Now, there's a gap there. I understand it, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. That's the way it happened. Eventually, I think Citi Books trying to work that out of the system. But I wanted people, after I was gone, and I'm not feeling sorry about myself for dying, because every one of us are born to live that is born to die.
Absolutely.
And that it's a part of life, the ending of life. And but anyway, I wanted my book, and having a book, I would be out there for many a year. Larry Allen McNair Sr. People could be reading my memoir, and I could entertain people for many, many years. And so I wrote the book. I'm glad that I wrote the book, but the inspiration is hard. That is hard for me to understand where that came from. I was 67 years old and finished it at 68. So that's how the book became a drill instructor's journey.
Curiosity for myself here with this next one. And I know you've already started to go into the story of your first night in the Marine Corps when you were 17. Well, let's go a little bit more into the book and into another tale. And dealer's choice here, because these are all tales that you've lived, so you know them better than everybody else. But please choose another one of the stories that you contribute into the book and give us a little bit more elaboration. Tell us another one about your drill instructor tales.
Okay, I would like to say first, my book has 15 short stories, and the first one is my boot camp days. And then the second story is when I was becoming a drill instructor, which was at San Diego, California. And it discusses me going through that class, which was a hard class to go through. I mean, we did things, or I did things that I didn't think I was capable of doing and really completing, but by the grace of God, I did do that. And the story, I graduate from school, and I want to say sometime, let's see, My son was born in March. Sometime in April, I graduated, and my wife and my newborn son was there, which he doesn't remember it. I hope he doesn't. And at the graduation, I went on leave for 10 days. I had to find a house. I had to find a home. I had to find somewhere to put my family. So, make a long story short, we found a nice apartment, and I reported back in to San Diego, MCRD, California, for duty. I was put in 3rd Battalion, and in boot camp there was 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Battalion, and I was assigned to 3rd Battalion. So I met the Sergeant Major that morning. He told me the do's and don'ts, and there were a whole lot more don'ts than do's. And I acknowledged that, and he sent me on my way to report to India Company. Well, I had been on the drill grinder. We call it the grinder, the drill area, in DI school many days. But I wasn't a drill instructor. Now I'm on that grinder, and I am a Marine Corps drill instructor. And I started thinking about, what am I going to do now? How is this going to happen? How is this going to end? But the one thing stuck in my head that day was, treat these young men as though you wanted to be treated. We took every event that could be took at recruit training. These kids, young men, I'm a drill instructor, so I pride myself on drill. If I don't know drill, how to teach drill, then how in the heck can I be a drill instructor? So when I taught drill, I taught it to the best of my ability, and I had the privates pay attention. I was a thinker about attention to detail. Long story short, these kids, men, just whooped the other 3 platoons. I mean, they just tore them up. We won final drill. And so that was 3057. And so that was at San Diego. And my drill instructor journey took me to Parris Island, the land that God forgot. There's one story in this book that is not true. But at Parris Island, drill instructors on duty at the rifle range always said they had feelings that made them uncomfortable at night. Well, I wrote a story, and it's not true, but some drill instructors would probably say something similar happened in their squad bay. Well, anyway, the name of the book is Sergeant Right. I think the readers will enjoy reading that book.
Listen, guys, you know what you have to do. There is so much here, and we've barely scratched the surface. Understand, when you head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you purchase your copies of A Drill Instructor's Journey, there is so much meat left on the bone. Check it out today. You will not be dissatisfied. While you're at it, also look into his YouTube page by searching Drill Instructor Tales. This is something you need to add to your shelf. Head on over there today, pick up copies, and find out why. Larry, this has been a true pleasure, man, an absolute delight. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
I enjoyed the interview. I enjoyed talking to you about my book. You've been blessed, man. Thank you.